This weekend, Easthampton became the second community in Western Massachusetts with adult-use marijuana sales. And Karmia Rizk hopes one day the city will have at least one business where people can gather, say at a coffee shop, to consume marijuana products. Jeff Bagg, Easthampton city planner, and Rizk joined me in the studio to discuss the idea of social consumption, which has yet to be permitted in Massachusetts.
Well, we launched Cafe Vert as a startup, announced it, and reached out to Easthampton to try to start it up. And during that process, the Cannabis Control Commission put the social consumption regulations on hold. So likewise, I have put Cafe Vert on hold, but I am pursuing full-time trying to create the legal framework for social consumption to exist in Easthampton.
And Jeff, for the city's part, it's there as a placeholder, as I understand it, in the actual ordinance when that was all outlined. But what would be the next step in that process for, filling in that very blank paragraph?
Right. So I think, as Karima mentioned, when the state pulled back on their version of the regulations, I think a lot of it got put on hold. What we have is a placeholder under the zoning ordinance. So where sort of we see this from a municipality's perspective, we kind of see this as restarting the discussion. And I think with all looking back at the retail components and cultivation, that worked pretty well under zoning. But for something like social consumption, it seems like the starting point is going to be looking at licensing and other types of regulations other than zoning. So zoning might be the end of the process. Where we want to maybe start is looking at Board of Health regulations and trying to actually kind of start to define what social consumption might look like, and then have a good dialogue with entrepreneurs, the state regulators, and local municipalities to kind of really work together to kind of craft a framework.
Do you have thoughts on a framework? Because some people liken this to the difference between a liquor store and a bar, right? So is that how you see it?
I think it's a complex issue. You need to tease out the nuances and the considerations. I think there are many good existing models for us to consider, both outside of the country, for example, in Amsterdam and the Netherlands, as well as in Spain, but also within the United States, as social consumption venues, including smoking within closed quarters, has occurred with California medical dispensaries for a couple of decades.
And Worcester has a social club, so it's a private club where you can go and consume in a public place, but there's a membership model and there's a fee for that use. Did you think about doing that as kind of like a baby step into this?
Ways. I take a different approach. In my view, I think it's really important for the legal framework to be there to on the board authorize social consumption. Why? Because one, it's sustainable. In the long run, nobody's going to shut you down. And also, I think it's an issue of criminal justice and social justice, because the social consumption of cannabis or cannabis consuming in public has been disproportionately enforced against minorities and people of lower income levels. So I think it's really important. When you place the hands of judgment and race into enforcement of cannabis consumption, it is questionable, and therefore I think it's really important to have the law on the books.
From the city's perspective, where are you on this?
It may seem very quick to start talking about this, but if you cast out the timeline, we're looking at a fairly long period of time to get social consumption situated, so now is a good time to start that. And I think the municipalities have to sort of balance it. And
right, because there was the Easthampton Healthy Youth Coalition. Sorry, I wanted to make sure I got the name right. And they were really concerned about negative implications of something like that. So as a municipality, there you are kind of in the middle, right? You have the advocates' perspective, but then people who are concerned about public health, the safety of kids, et cetera.
Yeah, and we've really, that would be where the discussion might go next. I think from a town or city's perspective, zoning is sort of a clunky tool. It's not really designed for this. Social consumption will be a pretty intricate model that we'd have to create. And what my thought process is that if zoning is clunky and like a mallet, then where we want to be with looking at social consumption is through licensing, which is more like a precision knife. So,
But similar to a bar, do you foresee that the town would have a cap of, X number of venues where social consumption could take place?
yeah, and I think this is where it's a lot to unravel. I mean, I think that we haven't even really talked about, there's a couple of really important elements that need to take shape, I think, for this to even be palpable for people, which is sort of a training, like a tips training. So if you're a bartender, you get tips trained to monitor for people who are over-consuming alcohol. I mean, we don't really have that in place yet at all for
The state doesn't
cannabis.
even have a level for gauging
Right.
a level of intoxication,
Right. So I
which
think
is
that-
expected later this year.
Yep. So I think once that starts to take shape, that'll help the discussion move forward. Police officers being trained after someone were to leave a place, I think that's an important element. And then really just, I think it may be a series of baby steps to take. And, one thing that what's floated recently would be potentially looking at a special events model as a way to begin to introduce it. So the State Cannabis Commission is looking at a working group of municipalities to make sure they're at the table. And that was something that I kind of started to talk about, was it may be an option for some towns to try special events that are licensed and reviewed because they're kind of one time, and they might be outside, which would help alleviate some of the questions that you have once you get inside of a building. So it's going to be I think it's going to be a series of discussions and start to tease out sort of what it might look like in the scenarios that could be options.
For you as a would-be business owner, is that a palatable option for you?
I really want to work with the government, in this case the municipal government, closely, because I think we share a lot of the same concerns. I personally would like my business to be a good corporate citizen, and also as a parent and a community member, I live in Easthampton too, I care about that community, and I think any operator, whether it's myself or another cannabis establishment, owes it to the community to ensure public health and safety are protected. So I think that's in everyone's best interest. Those are common goals, and I think we get more people on board and better communicate both the message, the regulations, and additionally also the education, the consumer education that needs to go around hand in hand with this kind of a venture when we work together.
Best guess, if you had to, when do you think that this could be a viable business option for you in Easthampton?
Well, looking at the state guidelines, and they've started the conversation of pilot groups and that sort of thing, my understanding is to go forward, at least at this point, and things are always changing, but at this point we need to get a social consumption ballot passed, ballot questions to be voted in, and they only currently allow for those on biennial election years.